DW, 9th of August 2022, along with sizable Chinese debt trap loans, the Laos economic problem is getting worse. The escalating debt crisis hurting the nation's finances and putting Laos perilously near default has put the country's economy on the verge of collapse. The Southeast Asian country's Statistics Bureau said in June that inflation had reached a 22-year high of 23.6%, making essential products more difficult to find and decreasing people's purchasing power. According to the World Bank, Laos' domestic and foreign debt has risen to more than $14.5 billion, 14.2 billion euros. China, which has provided money to Laos to build infrastructure projects, including hydropower plants and railway lines, is responsible for almost half of the country's foreign debt. Alarming inflation rates in Laos are the most recent indication that a financial storm is still battering the country's debt-ridden economy. The pandemic severely affected the nation even though the economy was booming at 6 to 7% annual GDP growth for much of the decade before the coronavirus epidemic. Due to its tiny size, the 7 million-person landlocked nation primarily relies on imports from and exports to commercial partners in Asia. The pandemic has increased inflationary pressure in the country by upsetting supply networks and driving up food and fuel prices. The choice of Laos to heavily leverage its debt to China to finance significant infrastructure projects is another aspect that contributed to the escalation of the crisis. China presently ranks among the major foreign investors in Laos, investing more than $16 billion in projects. The most recent major undertaking, the $5.9 billion China-Laos railway connecting Vientiane to the Chinese border, is an essential pillar of Beijing's massive, multi-billion-dollar Belt and Road initiative to create infrastructure. Poorer countries like Laos risk becoming caught in China's debt traps, which let Chinese investors seize control of critical national assets when debtor countries cannot repay the loans. To strengthen economic relations throughout Southeast Asia, China has committed more than $800 million since 2013 to its Belt and Road initiative, with Laos serving as a vital ally. Laos is caught in a severe power struggle as Beijing's hold over the country tightens and the inflation rate rises. There are many more critical and commercial partners for Laos besides China. The nation has a strong history of juggling the interests of rival diplomatic allies. In contrast to Vietnam, which is currently regarded as Laos' most significant security partner, Japan has long been the country's most consequential bilateral aid provider. Despite its financial difficulties, Vientiane has so far refrained from approaching its foreign lenders about renegotiating its debt. The nation made the imprudent decision to borrow more money from Beijing during the COVID pandemic rather than applying for loans from international lenders. Because of all the bribes that Chinese lenders have given to government officials. Murphy noted that ideally, Laos may obtain the best of both worlds while dealing with their debt issue. In the worst-case scenario, the economic crisis in Laos could turn into a geopolitical issue if other diplomatic allies feel that China's influence is undermining their position in Laos. Laos is caught in the standard Chinese debt trap.